Hey YouTube family, it's your girl, Millie, yeah. And I'm back with another video. Today's gonna be a little different. I'm going to document, well, basically talk about my experience getting my e-passport. Yum 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 yum. So in this video I will be including as well getting an e-passport when you've lost your passport, getting an e-passport for a toddler, getting an e-passport the normal route, and applying for an e-passport on behalf, not an e-passport, applying for a passport on behalf of someone else. So let's get right into it. Millie. So I do acknowledge by the time maybe I'm shooting this video, things might be a little bit different back there regarding the application process, but I'm sure that some things might be the same. So what I'm just going to do is share my experience and the experience I had assisting others while I was in Zim, so that maybe it could help you as well. So in this video as well, there are timestamps at the bottom. Select the timestamps based on what you want. The first thing I'm going to talk about is obviously getting the e-passport, and then later on in the video I'm actually going to give a short brief run through of getting a birth certificate for a child not born in Zimbabwe. So if you're also keen on finding out how that works, the timestamps below, you can just click on it, go directly there, or you can stay tuned and hear my passport, my e-passport experience. So the first thing I'll start with is the requirements. So you do need your original ID and your original birth certificate. I don't know why, because technically you need a birth certificate to have an ID, right? So you should just be able to bring an ID, but no, it doesn't work like that. You need both. You need to present both, and your old passport, a marriage certificate if it applies to you, and a police report. So you need those things. If you're applying for a toddler, you need to ensure that you also have their passport pictures taken beforehand. They will ask for those. But you don't need pictures. You get pictures taken as an adult inside the civil registry. But toddlers, you bring their pictures. So I'm assuming toddlers is people between the ages of 1 and 3, most likely. And everyone has to be present. Child has to be present, adults have to be present. If you're applying for a toddler, you need to make sure that both parents' passports, IDs, birth certificates are also present, because they will ask for things from both parents as well. It's probably common knowledge, but some people don't know. You apply for your passports at the Civil Registry building. It's a new building, and it's right by, I think it's Old Makombi. I think that's what you used to call it. But it's like really close to where you used to apply for your birth certificate. Like that little building where you applied for birth certificate, there's now a big building in front of it which has the civil registry and immigration buildings. So everything now to do with registrations and whatnot are in the civil registry building, which is where you go. So on the day that I went to apply for my passport, I arrived there at 4:30. I arrived at 4:30 in the morning. I do have a video from a previous vlog, which I might just put here, when I was basically trying to open the gate on our way out to go get the passport. Morning peeps. It is literally like 4:30 a.m. and I am going to do my passports. I'm in the dark, so no one can see me, but we are actually going to the passport place. Maintenon right now as I speak. I'm trying to find some light. So yeah, this is a struggle in Zimbabwe, but we move. So let's get these passports. Hopefully I can get them done today. So when I got there, I just joined the queue, because I figured, okay, you just get there, you join the queue. But no, there was a person giving out numbers, like at the front of the queue somewhere, like at the corner, because the queue started at the civil registry gate and then it kind of went round, and it was almost reaching the old birth certificates place gate. So there was a person giving out ticket numbers and whatever by the corner, so you needed one of those. But to be honest, you didn't really need one. But then there was a woman who was coming around checking those numbers like momentarily, so I guess you did need one, because she'd kick you out of the line if you didn't have one. I didn't know you had to get there and get a ticket number, so I didn't get one. And when she came through, she came and she was kicking us out. I'm like, fam, I've been standing here. So then now it was a scramble to get those ticket numbers. So I suggest once you get to the passport place, just find out, do people around you have ticket numbers? I was being very antisocial because I was very sleepy, so I didn't ask. But you just ask, do people around you have ticket numbers? If they do, make sure you get one, because that could be the difference between you being where you're supposed to be and you being 50 people down the line, which was me, because I ended up 50 people down the line. But also, not everyone in the queue is there to get their passport. One, there's going to be people in the queue who are collecting. There's going to be people in the queue who have the VIP passports. And there's going to be people in the queue who are selling spots. So they're just standing there in the queue waiting for someone to come who wants to buy a spot, and they're going to give it to them. So when I initially entered the queue, when I finally got a ticket number, I was number 338. And that was very tormenting for me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be here the whole day. But once they opened at 7, and everyone who was actually supposed to be in our queue, after they separated the VIPs and the people collecting, and all those people now who are just holding spots now have to leave because they're not really going in. When I went inside, I was number 225. So that's like 100 spots that just were null and void in front of me. So don't be like tormented by your initial number, because things do change. So, like I said, at 7 o'clock, they open the gates, they let you in, and there is a lot of seating inside that place. Like, you can just sit down and wait. And once you get in, there's people who check you as you get in with your line. They check the documents that you have. If you're submitting for someone, you're also in the same line. So they check if you have everything from the person, if everything is present, and then they'll allow you to go in, proceed, and sit to then be served at stage 1. So once everything of yours is checked and you go in, you sit down, it's go ahead. The process begins. So I think stage 1, I was sitting there for about 30 minutes. So about at 8 o'clock, because they only started serving at 7:30. By 8 o'clock, stage 1, I was done. They checked my documents, they checked my son's document, and they gave us a ticket number to go stand in the next line, which was right next to the place where you sit for stage 1. So you go sit and stand in the next line. So you get a different number. Now, the reason why they gave us the different number for the banking hall was because what happens was, when at the time that I applied for my passport, they sometimes weren't able to finish everyone on the same day. So some people they would have started a stage and then it becomes too late and they have to close. So they would come back the next day and proceed from the stage they were at. So basically each stage has different numbers. So there would have been people from yesterday who are already waiting to go to the banking hall. So I would then have to come after them. That's why I got a different number. Stage 2 was the worst for me personally. Stage 2 was the worst. I was in stage 2 for about 4 hours. I don't know why CBZ takes so long. And the crazy thing is that once you actually go inside, it doesn't take that long. Like, you go inside and there's about 20 of you guys. You get in there, you're not even in there for 10 minutes. So I actually don't know what took so long for us to get into there. But I'm sure, but when I was still in Zim, like I think end of March, they were saying that they're introducing online payments. So I'm sure if that's introduced, that will make a significant difference as to the time you actually wait. So after spending 30 minutes in stage 1 and 4 hours in stage 2, I then made a payment for both me and my son. So there are 2 different passports. There's the VIP passport and then there's the normal passport. So the normal one is 120 and the VIP one is 220. So with the VIP one, you don't pay for it in the banking hall. The VIP people have their own VIP room where everything is. It's like desk to desk, like stage 1, 2, 3, 4 are in a row. You like everything is just there for you. You don't actually leave the room. So you can't decide you want a 220 passport once you get to the banking hall. Everyone in that line is paying for the 120 passports, and that's that. If you don't have an appointment or aren't actually doing the VIP ones or didn't say it before, then you probably have to just go back and see if you can go to that line or whatever. But from what I could see, it looked like the VIP section was also very packed. Like, there was a lot of people. There was hundreds of people there. So I was just like, this don't look very VIP to me. But anyway, that's besides the point. After you make the payment, they give you a paper they give you a receipt and a QR code. So there's a page with a QR code. That page with your QR code, what you then do is you take that and you proceed to stage 3. Stage 3 is where you get your form, and basically, yeah, you fill in your form. There's actually a space. It's like a little churchy vibe. It looks like, those pulpits. I don't think you call them pulpits. Pews. I think it's called pews, if my English is not failing me. Those pews in a church. So you sit, you fill in your forms. So at this stage, if you had lost your passport, what you then have to do is, after you fill in your form, you take it to a police station. They stamp the form, and then once they stamp the form, you then come back, and then you go to the 7th floor, which is Interpol or something like that, and then they also put a signature and they put a stamp as well, and then you come back to stage 3. So that is the biggest difference if you have lost your passport, or like if you have your old passport, you don't do that. But if you lost your old passport, you have to do that. So yeah, but once you fill in everything, fill in both your, okay, not both your forms. I had 2 forms because of my son and myself. I filled in my forms. I proceeded to the little office. It's also still part of stage 3. The woman there then scans your QR code, checks if it's valid, and then just checks your form and makes sure everything is up to date, everything is fine, everything is there. They also check your originals. You don't need copies. I had copies of everything, but at no point did they ask me for copies. Every time I gave them copies, they just give them back to me like, we don't need this. So you probably don't need copies, but I always travel with everything just in case someone asks me for something. That took me like about 10 minutes. There's not a lot of people. Like, you just literally, it's up to you based on how long it takes you to fill in your form. So after she's checked you, she will send you to stage 4, where you just wait and you get in, you tap the thing, it gives you another number, and then they'll call your number based on whatever number you got. Once they call you in there, she'll basically get in and ask you, like, she'll take your form, and then that's where they fill in like the stuff that comes out on your passport page, like your occupation, and then they fill in your details, your ID number, your whatnot, and then that's when they take the picture. So like, I was looking all cute in the morning, but after waiting 4 hours just to go and pay, I was not even in the mood anymore. But my passport picture is still cute. It's okay. I like it. But yeah, they take the picture. It just looks like like a webcam. She just tells you sit up straight, put your hair behind your ears, whatnot, all that jazz. And then they snap a photo. They bring out the touchpad. You put your fingerprints, and then you put your signature, and they print out the page. You check. You see if the details are correct. And everything is done. Like, it's done. And that process didn't even take more than 10 minutes for both me and my son. So, like, basically, if the banking hall had also taken maybe 30 minutes, because stage 1 took me 30 minutes, stage 3 took me 10 minutes, stage 4 took me 10 minutes, that's like 50 minutes. So if maybe the banking hall had taken like 30 minutes just to get in and pay, or if they allowed us to pay beforehand and then go and pay, I would have been there for less than 2 hours. You know what I mean? Which is essentially what it should be like, because the people in the actual civil registry are working fast, guys. It's the CBZ people that finish us with waiting there for no reason. And I don't even know why, because they're taking the money. Like, they're getting $20 per transaction. Come on, dude. You can work faster. Like, come on. But it is what it is. So after that, they tell you to come back after 7 days and get your passport. And then you get your e-passport. Here it is. So yeah, that's basically the application process. And then the collection is also kind of okay. The only problem I had with collection is that there's just a lot of confusion going down in the collection room. So when you come to collect, you don't have to wake up in the morning. But my suggestion is, do not come on the 7th day, because the 7th day also counts. So if you come like maybe in the morning on the 7th day, they'll tell you, no, your passport is only going to be ready afternoon or late afternoon on the 7th day. So my suggestion is come from the 8th day or the 9th. I went on the 9th day because I know my aunt went on the 7th day and it wasn't ready. And then she went on the 8th day and it wasn't ready still. So I was just like, let me do 9 days, because girl, is not about going there several times. Because guys, I'm going to have a couple more videos of this discussing other things that I had to go and do in those civil registry. So I was tired of that place. I was really tired of that place. So yeah, I just went once. I collected the passports. Regarding collection, what you need is you need your ID. For kids, if like for your toddler, for your child, you need a copy of you need your ID, as well as you need the parents' IDs, as well as the child's ID. Not child's ID, child's birth certificate. So you need the birth certificate, the ID, and the receipts or the QR code thingies from that you get from CBZ. So you go there, you just get in, you join the line if there's a line. When I went there was no line, and I was with my mom, and I don't know how my mom started talking to the guy who was supposed to be navigating the line. So when I walked in, he's just like, sister, go to the till, even though I feel like I did cut the line. But anyway, I was also tired of the place, so I didn't feel guilty. So you go to the counter, they just check everything, and then they tell you whether your passport's ready. If your passport's ready, they tell you to sit down. You then sit down, and then from a different counter, they'll then call your name. You come in, you check if your passport is correct, if all the details are as they should, and you leave with your passport. That is the whole process. And I was very impressed because I was worried that maybe if my passports didn't come out on time or whatnot. So what I did is I was going to be in Zim for a month. So the first thing I did, like the week I arrived, was basically I went on the first day, got my son his birth certificate, his Zimbabwe birth certificate. On the second day, I went and we did our passports. Like, I was just like, let's get this out of the way. On the third day, I went and I did my police clearance. Guys, tell me why it's so hard to do a police clearance in Zimbabwe. But anyway, that is a chat for another day. This is my e-passport journey, and yeah, I hope that I gave you enough information based on my experience, and I'm not sure if things are still the same. Passports are actually different. This is my old passport, so it's cut because it hadn't expired when I got a new passport. This is my old passport, and then this is my e-passport. So I'm gonna show you guys. So I'm gonna show you guys the difference. I won't show you guys the difference obviously in detail in my details, but anyway, you see this is the back of the old passport, and this is the back of the e-passport. It's got like a little map of Zimbabwe going on there, whereby, you know, whatever. And like you saw in the front, this one says Zimbabwe passport. This one has the Republic of Zimbabwe passport, and then it's got this thing that shows that it's an e-passport. In our old passports, the information page is on the back. In the e-passports, are there any details here? Okay, there's a passport number here which I can cover. There is this front page. It's like a glass plastic kind of thing. Pretty cool. And then behind it is where you actually find the details. That's where the detail page is. So instead of it being at the back of the passport, now it's at the front of the passport, and it's like this hard page. There's also like yeah, there's this stitching on it. I think you saw there's like a stitching here that's not in the old passport, and it's just basically nicer. I mean, let me show you what the old passport pages looked like. The old passport pages looked like this. It was basically our, sorry, there's too much light. So like, okay, yeah. Like, so it looked like this. And now the new pages, they've got like animals on them. So there's some buffalo and whatnot. I'm just trying to hide my details. And then they've got a flame lily on the last page. It's really cool. It's actually a pretty cool passport. So because I know initially when they came out saying that we need to change our passports, I was just like, do we really? But they are really, they are very different passports. So that is the e-passport tingy that I have. And then let me get right into applying for a birth certificate, because I was also worried about that. So with the birth certificate thing, it's also done in the civil registry building, but the only difference is where you line up. You still line up in that at the gate of the old place where you applied for birth certificates before. Now, I got there around 6:30. I wasn't really early. The queue wasn't long. But at 7 o'clock, there was a man who came out and he started separating us. Kids born in South Africa, kids born outside Africa, you stand in different lines. And then kids born in Harare at specific hospitals, because I think if you give birth at a specific jurisdiction, you need to go and register in that jurisdiction within Harare. Some crazy stuff like that. So a lot of people were sent home. But I know that if your child was born out of Zim, you need to go to this place, I think. Actually, I don't know if you need to, but I went there. So what I needed was my passport, and my ID. Yeah, my passport, my ID, and my son's health book. So they didn't need the unabridged birth certificate that you get here in South Africa. They don't need the South African birth certificate. They just need the health book, which is that's ready to. I didn't bring it with me, but it's that you would know which one the health book is, the one that you take with you every time you go for immunization. That's the book they need, and they need copies of each of those. They need a page with all the child's details, like birthday, birth weight, birth name, whatnot, and the front page of the book to show which country it's from. And then they need copies of mothers and fathers' ID, mothers and fathers' passports also need to be there, as well as the originals, and as well as the mother and father's birth certificates. They also need to be there. They ask for all this stuff. And then once you get in, you go inside, you wait in the queue for kids born in South Africa or kids born in UK or kids born whatever, and then they call you in. You go on the counter. The guy basically asks you to give him the information, and they fill in the form for you. So you give them your child's names, and then they take all the other details from the paperwork you would have given them. They write everything down, and then after they write everything down, they give you back that form, and then you go and submit it at a different window. It was free. I didn't pay anything for it. I expected to pay something, but actually it's free, and they even write on the birth certificate that it's free. And then I think you only pay after you've lost, of which you only pay like 10 bond, which is like 10 bond. But yeah, and then you submit it at the window, and then they basically tell you to come back after 2 hours. After 2 hours, you just come back and you wait downstairs. There's a place where you sit for your passport. On the right hand side is where they basically process people's birth certificate. So you just sit there basically until you hear your child's name being called, because they'll bring the birth certificates that are already there, and they'll call out the names, and they'll be like, oh, Martin Emmanuel Chimonyo, and Martin Emmanuel Mukundi Chimonyo. He has a lot of names. And then you go, you collect, and that's that. You have your birth certificate. So it was same day. It was free. I didn't have to wake up super early for it. Our line was really short. There was 2 people in front of me, like literally 2 people in front of me. And if you're applying for a birth certificate and you've lost your passports, so you don't have your passports, you basically just have to go get a police report and an affidavit, explaining how you lost the passport and why you don't have it. So you have to submit those 2 as well, and then as well as your copy of ID, copy of birth certificate, and you submit those, and then they'll process everything for you. And that's how you get a birth certificate for a child not born in Zimbabwe, because some of us did. Although my son needs to, I'm low-key thinking my son needs to change his citizenship, but but for now we share the same citizenship. It's just easier for him to have the same stuff as I am, because I mean, what else can you do? So thank you for watching my video. I hope I could help someone out there. I know when I was looking for research for all these things, it was really hard for me to get the information. But the thing is, some of these things are so straightforward to do. It's just that you don't have the information, and you end up going round and round. when you could have done something so easily. So that's why I'm making these videos. I'm gonna make a second video, maybe for the next week or the week after that, where I'm just going to explain the process of getting married in Zimbabwe, like getting your marriage license and how you get your marriage certificate and all that, as well as including tips for people who are marrying a foreigner, because the requirements are different. And for me, it was so hard because I went back and forth and back and forth, and for things that I didn't need to go back and forth for, because a lot of people don't explain them to you. I mean, you go to the magistrates, they won't want to tell you anything. They won't even let you in so that you can go to the person who can give you the information. So yeah, if I had like a video to just explain to me what I needed to do, I think I could have done everything so easily, so much easier. So I'm going to do one of those videos very soon, and hopefully it can help someone as well. But anyway, thank you for watching. Please leave a like. Please share with someone who might need this information. And yeah, I know I talk a lot. I've been talking for a very long time, but that was my e-passport experience. And I'm sorry, I'm still so sick. I'm not so sick anymore. I'm still a bit sick. Nyana nyana. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.